mean, we've got quite a great turnout today. So well done on you for leaning in, not wanting to miss an opportunity to learn something that's going to help you, because that's why we're here. Want to encourage you, take a deep breath. Now's the time to get yourself a little drink of water or whatever. If we were at the Culinary Institute right about now, I'm getting up to get my second dessert. I don't know about you. I just know my timeline. But feel free, loosen up a little. This doesn't have to be just boring and dull. We want you to feel comfortable. The next thing is that we allocate from every month, the second Wednesday, we allocate from noon until 1:30 to come together, to interact with each other, to learn a little bit about what people are doing, to connect with women maybe we don't know, and also hear some really good stuff. And so today, I don't want you to feel rushed at all. John's going to be sharing some great information with us. I want you to feel free to be able to ask questions and all of that. So don't feel pressured that the Zoom is going to disappear at 1, because we've actually allocated till 1:30 for all of us to do that. So without further ado, I want to introduce our spotlight speaker, and it is Katie Haemelinck. I think I'm saying it right. So Katie, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Very good on that pronunciation. Hi, everybody. I hope you're all well. Some crazy times we're in here right now, that's for sure. My name is Katie Haemelinck. I've been a member of NACW since 2008. I was honored to be the 2017 Career Woman of the Year. I'm also a Women's Life Chapter 855 member, active. And I am the office administrator and paralegal with Lowe's and Davidson and Kovar. For everything happened so quickly here. For any of you that don't know, Lowe's and Kovar merged with Hill Davidson in January of this year. And we were just getting ready to roll out our marketing when COVID hit. So that sort of put everything a little bit on hold. But if you're, you or anyone is looking for Mark Davidson or Steve Hill, you'll find them in our office in the old Fog Cutter building. Other than that, I've worked in town in Port Huron here since 2001. I am married. I have 3 grown sons and 5 teenage grandchildren, all boom, 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 right in the same age. They're fun though. They're a riot. And they're good kids. I just obtained my master's degree in January of this year, so I finally reached my educational goals. So now it's on to bigger dreams or new dreams. Other than that, I'm just workaholic and love my job, love my family, love my life, and just love this group. It's very, very informative and very dynamic. And that's about it. That's me.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I love hearing that. You just got your master's degree, 5 grown sons, all these grandkids. What a great example. Holy cow. And also the thing that's near and dear to my heart, on to bigger dreams, on to new dreams. That's amazing. Really amazing. So thank you for sharing your journey, and thanks for being a part of Women of NACW for 12 years. Am I doing the math on that right?
Yep.
I think so. Thank you, Katie, so much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, so now we're going to introduce our speaker. One of these things is not like the other. If you guys are familiar with Sesame Street, right? And it would be John Watt. He's our speaker today. John is a CMU grad. Go Chips, right? Go Chips, majoring in business education. He taught sales and marketing at the high school level for 8 years. He was in pharmaceutical sales, marketing, and management for 22. And for the past 4 years, he's been president of Coach for Life, Coach for Life is a personal and professional development consultation organization. It's a perfect fit, right, for our mission of promoting the personal and professional development of women. We're so glad he's here. John's been married for 39 years to a now retired elementary school teacher. They have 3 daughters. One is a social worker, one is a labor and delivery nurse, and the other is an ER nurse. So let's take a minute, send them good vibes, thank them for all their service to their communities, right? Whew. Thank God for people who are willing to put themselves out there. And John has 5 granddaughters and a grandson. So finally you got the boy to come along and partner with you.
Yeah, finally.
Please welcome everyone, John Watt. Woohoo!
Hey,
Take it
thanks,
away, John.
thanks, guys. And I'm gonna I just want to thank Shannon and Ann and Carolyn for inviting me to be part of your group. I am extremely overwhelmed by being around so many beautiful women. It is overwhelming. So hopefully the information that I present to you is going to help you and help you grow and help other people that you have come in contact with to grow. I'm going to apologize. You know, as a speaker, you're never supposed to apologize before you start. But this is new and the new normal, right? So we're going to be switching to a screen, and you'll understand why as we go through this. But once we get into the screen, I'm going to stay there until the end so we don't have to keep going back and forth. If you have any questions at all, just please drop something down into the chat box, and then we can talk about it when we get all done. Okay, so I appreciate that. I am now going to attempt to share my screen and make sure that this works here. Got this and here, and we go there and here. Okay, everybody can see this, I'm assuming. Give me a thumbs up, Shannon. Okay, great. So let me see. My Maxwell disc indicator is a DC Challenger. That may not mean a whole lot to you, but it's going to in a minute. As Shannon said, right out of college, I spent 8 years in secondary education. I taught sales and marketing at the high school level. For 5 of those 8 years, I was at Port Huron High. And then after that, I spent 20 plus years in the pharmaceutical industry in sales, sales management, and marketing. And for the past 5 years, I've owned Coach for Life. Life is an acronym for leadership, being intentional, faith-based, and equip. And that's what I hope to do with you today, is equip you with some tools so that you can, like I said earlier, not only grow personally, but help grow your team. I've been married for 39 years to my wife, Kathleen. We have 3 daughters and 6 beautiful grandchildren. Here's the mugshot right here. As you can see, this picture was taken last August. My youngest daughter, Jalissa, got married to Josh. She got married at City Flats Hotel. Thank God the wedding was last year and not this year, because there'd been a whole other set of problems. But Jalissa is an ER nurse. She was an ER nurse at Port Huron McLaren for a year, and now she's a travel ER nurse. She's currently stationed out at University of Nebraska, Kearney, and she's in a COVID hotspot out there right now. To her left is my middle daughter, Jenna Lynn. Jenna Lynn is a labor and delivery nurse at Port Huron McLaren. She's married to Nolan. Jenna has her arms around Tessa Joy. To the left is Reagan Faith, and in the front, the little one is Macy Grace. That's their 3 kids. To my left is my wife, Kathleen, who just retired from Port Huron area schools after 35 years of teaching 2nd grade. To my right is my oldest daughter, Kristen. She's a social worker in Kalamazoo. She's married to John. They adopted 3 kids. Ava and Maya right there were adopted in July 10th of 2017. They are biological sisters. And Caleb, the young man in the suit, was adopted at birth by John and Kristen. The little guy with his arm around Caleb is Eli. Kristen and John fostered Eli for 1.5 years, and he just got adopted 3 months ago. So everybody's happy. Why do I show you this picture when we're talking about communication? Well, one of the reasons is I'm proud of my family. The other reason is I want to be able to connect with you. I want to be able to connect and identify and relate to you, because when you relate to people, you increase your influence with them. And that's what it's all about, because leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. John says that the true measure of leadership is influence. But you say, geez, John, this is supposed to be about communication. It isn't supposed to be about leadership. Well, you know what? Everything rises and falls on leadership. And it starts with the ability to communicate and, more importantly, to connect. In John's best-selling book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he talks about these 21 laws. He lays them out. And I want to talk about two, first of all. Number one, the most important is the law of the lid. And the law of the lid simply says this, that your leadership ability and everything that you do will determine your level of effectiveness. So you've got this lid that kind of sits on your potential. And the only way that you can raise that lid is by raising the ability to influence people. So you raise your lid, and the lid can hold down your relationships. It can hold down your goal attainment. It can have a hold down on basically anything in your life. So you say, okay, John, I want to raise my lid. How do I do that? You do that through law number 2, which is the law of influence. And basically says that the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so you want to be able to influence people through the ability to communicate and take the next step of connecting. So when you lead through connection, this is what happens. This is the neat thing about it. It's a teachable skill. Anybody can learn how to lead and can learn how to connect. It's predictable. It operates by laws. We talked about a couple of them, the law of the lid and the law of influence. You learn the laws, you will learn to lead, you'll learn to connect. However, if you ignore the laws, your leadership ability and your ability to connect with others, you're going to just experience frustration and struggle. So this is important because the Harvard Business Review says that the number one criteria for advancement of promotions in any industry is the ability to communicate effectively. What is effective communication? It's connection. It's the ability to connect with individuals. We all know what bad or ineffective communication looks like. Let me show you a quick snippet of what bad communication looks like.
Circle, coaster, coin, cake, Madison Square Garden, ball, basketball, volleyball, tetherball.
Time.
Oh man, come on, girls.
Neptune.
Yeah, kind of obvious. Squiggly lines, dark spot, arrows. And go.
A TV. A box fan. A microwave. Yes! Yes, perfect!
All right, man, let's go. We got this. Hopefully you can draw better than you can guess. Some sort of kitchen utensil, cactus, some sort of a pole. I'm totally not getting this. Girls, you may want to jump in because I'm not getting this.
Cactus? No, he said cactus. Is it the Mars rover? Oh, a map of North Dakota. No, South Dakota. Oh, Burger King.
Is it a person?
Wait, is that our mailman?
Why would the Pictionary card tell me to draw our mailman?
Attila the Hun?
Ryan Seacrest. Cookie Monster? Mario Lopez.
Oh, I see. It's Darth Vader.
Sometimes your point can be missed no matter how clearly you think you're communicating.
It's only communication, guys, when you connect. That's what it's all about. So I want to give you 4 quick components of communication and when you're going to connect with them. The first one is connecting visually. You know, people, this is what people see, and we remember 85 to 90% of what we see and only 10% of what we hear. That's one of the reasons on this Zoom call, this presentation, rather than you just looking to me and listening to me talk, I wanted to be able to give you some visuals so that you'll remember this content, because it's extremely important in your lives. The second thing is we need to be able to connect intellectually what people understand. You know, we're living in some crazy times right now, and there's a ton of things that we agree on and that we disagree on. But I really feel that a lot of this is caused because of poor communication, and more importantly, the poor connecting that we're doing with each other. You know, we tend to judge other people based on their actions, and we judge ourselves based on our intentions. I really think that the world would be a much better place, and the Blue Water area would be a much better place if we took more time to communicate with people by connecting with them and really starting to understand what their concerns are. The third thing is you need to connect emotionally, what people feel. People can hear your words, but I guarantee you they feel your attitude. People will not always remember what you said, but they will always remember what you did. And most importantly, they will always remember how you make them feel. And the fourth thing is we need to connect verbally, what people hear. What we say and how we say things makes a huge impact. People will respond to the language we use. The words we use to choose to speak to our spouse, to our children, to our coworkers, we can either build them up or tear them down. It's really a make or break situation. So, what shapes our personality? Well, there's really a lot. It comes down to thoughts. And in one of my workshops, I take a deeper dive into that. I really don't have time to do that today, but your thoughts lead to your feelings, and your feelings lead to your behaviors, and that leads to your actions. And it's a lot deeper than that, but what I want to let you know that your personality is then shaped by these three different over areas and one of them is the heredity. How you're born, what you're born with, who you're born to. Within the first 7 years of your life, you've got 90% of your behaviors that have already been set and established in your mind. 90%. From there, we go to our environment. Our environment will impact our life. In fact, if you have life experiences, especially that are emotionally charged ones, especially in your developmental years, that has a huge impact on your personality. And then the third component is role models. The role models in our lives that teach us what's valuable, they even reward us. You know, it could be parents, it could be siblings, it could be a teacher, a coach, maybe even a professional athlete or an entertainer. All three of these areas, the heredity, the environment, and role models, make up who we are. A lot of that can't be changed. The only thing that can really change our personality is a life-changing event, a death, okay, or something like that can change. But we're pretty much groomed our personality of where we're at right now. Wouldn't it be great, though, if people had a pattern? If you could pick them out of a crowd and say, you know, this person is like this, or they have a particular pattern that they show to us, and we can say, hey, I can connect and I can communicate with these people better because they have a pattern. Wouldn't it be nice in a meeting to think, hey, I wonder what they're thinking, or what can I say to better connect with them? I mean, wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that? What if I told you we do have patterns? We do have patterns. It isn't just who we are, it's what we do and how we do what we do. I mean, we do have patterns. I mean, animals have patterns. You think about it, you look in the upper left-hand corner, and what is that? That's a tiger. Upper right-hand corner, that's a Dalmatian. Lower left, we got a zebra. And then we got the giraffe. They've got patterns. We have patterns too. Sometimes they're not quite as obvious as the patterns that the animals portray, but they are still patterns. They are still patterns. So what I want to do right now is have you take out a sheet of paper and write this cross or whatever. We're going to fill it in and actually give you some descriptions of what people patterns look like and see where you fit into these people patterns. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is in that upper left-hand corner, I want you to write the letter D. In the upper right-hand corner, the letter I. And then at the top of that, write outgoing. write outgoing. Okay? Got that? At the bottom, write C and S. C being on the left-hand side and S being on the right-hand side. And at the bottom, write reserved. Write reserved. Now at the left, you've got the D and the C. On the left-hand side, I want you to write task first. Task first. And then go into the other side, the I and the S. That's relationship first. Okay? So when you put that whole thing together, we've got the D, the I, the S, and the C. And those are our four primary communication styles. Now, we're not just a D or an I or an S or a C. We're a hybrid of those. And like I told you at the beginning of my talk and my introduction, I'm a DC challenger. If you look all the way to the left in the red, I come out as a DC challenger. So based on the information that I just told you, I'm halfway between being outgoing and being reserved. I can be outgoing when I want, and I can be reserved. I'm right there in the middle. It's easy for me to vacillate up and down one way or the other. However, I'm extremely on the left side. I'm task oriented, and I couldn't be any further removed from people or be in relationships. So myself dealing with people, that is a job. That is a chore. And until I did an assessment and this blind spot was uncovered, when that blind spot was uncovered, then I could work on that. The only way that inability to work with people becomes a weakness is if I don't attack it. Guys, when I walk into a room, I always used to think I was like, the smart person, because they always say the smart people go to the front of the room, because they want to learn more than the person in the back of the room. I went to the front of the room because there were seats that were open and nobody was sitting there. That's why I went to the front of the room. I tend to avoid people, and I didn't know that I avoided people. My wife would often say, boy, that was rude what you said. I'm like, what do you mean? But we'll find out in a minute. And I'm not making an excuse. It's just part of my personality. Again, when you've got increased awareness, you can make the changes. You can choose to grow or not. It is your choice. So that's the whole breakdown that we have with the different personalities. So I learned in pictures. So what I did is I threw the pictures up of the different letters. And let's take a look first at Mr. Lion, the D. Okay? If a lion had a song, it would be Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. I mean, that's what a D does. And if you take a look at a D, here's some of the descriptives. And write these down in the column with the D. They're dominating. They're decisive. They can be direct. My wife doesn't like to use the word direct. She uses a different word, but I can be direct. I can be demanding. I can be driven. The thing that I want you to write down those characteristics, but the next ones that I talk about is really critical that you put an asterisk next to these. This is the D's biggest fear. The biggest fear is being taken advantage of. So if you want to connect with the D and you're taking advantage of them, they'll come after you. Because remember, they're driven, they can be direct. The good thing about this is that the D's only make up 3% of the population. I mean, I guess that's the good and the bad. They make up 3% of the population. So there's the D's. Now let's take a look at the Otters. The Otters love to play. If the Otters had a song, if the I's had a song, it would be cool in the celebration. I mean, they love to have a party. The I's, they're influencers. They're interested in people. They're interactive. They're impulsive. They're interesting. I mean, look at this guy. He's dressed in yellow. You may not know who the D's are in a room, but you know who the I's are. The I's are the people that are telling stories. They're the loudest. They're funny. People love to be around I's. However, the greatest fear of an I is rejection. They hate being rejected. I'll tell you a story that happened about a year or so ago. I'm on city council in St. Clair, and we had a meeting with the owners of the St. Clair Ends, and a lot of the business owners were down there and stuff. And I had a goal. I had to meet a couple people and talk to them about a couple things. So when I got to the venue, I walked into the room and I saw the people in the back part of the room. So I'm starting to make a beeline to talk to these people. In the meantime, somebody stepped into my path and I wanted to talk to me about a couple things, and I said hi, and then I kind of just walked through that person. Well, the next morning, I'm at the market. I run into this person, and I'm, hey, how you doing? And they were as cold to me as you could ever be. And I'm like, that's weird. They're never like that. You know, it's like I walk away. What'd I do to her? And then, and remember, the question is, what did I do? The question I asked. My subconscious then later on the day answers my question. Oh my God, I totally rejected her last night at the meeting. So I went over to her office, told her what happened, and she was fine because I didn't reject her, and eyes hate being rejected. Again, it's awareness, and it's being able to recognize what that person is and what their biggest fear is. They make up 11% of the population. 11% of the population are eyes. Well, let's get on to our goldens here. I mean, look at the golden retriever. I mean, they're taking care of everybody. Everybody's happy. That's what a golden does. If a S had a song, it'd be the Rembrandts, I'll Be There For You. That's what they do. S's, they're steady, they're stable, they're secure, they're supportive, they're safe, they're sometimes silent. My wife is an S. You know, you hear the thing about sometimes opposites attract. Well, if you take a look at the way that you drew everything out, I'm exact opposite of the S. And we were attracted to each other. And that's good for initial attraction. It can be a challenge a lot of the times because the things that I'm good at, my wife isn't. The things that I'm bad at, she's good at. Their biggest fear, S's biggest fear, is confrontation. Loss of security. That's their fear. You got to be really careful. The thing is, I'm a D, a DC. I'm a starter. My wife is a finisher. We complement each other very, very well. Here's the thing though, guys. S's make up 69% of the population. So if you take a look at the S's and the I's, that's 80% of the population are relationship bound. They love people. Communication and connecting is important. 8 out of 10 people that you come into contact with want to have a relationship. If you want to connect with them, you need to know how to connect with them. It's not important just to know your style, what your blind spots are. You need to know what everybody else is also. Which moves us on to the Beavers. The Beavers, you gotta love them. If they had a song, it would be Johnny Cash's I Walk the Line. The C's, they're very compliant. They're calculating. They contemplate. They're cautious. They're concerned. They're extremely certain. The criticism or the fear of the C is they don't want to be criticized. They spend so much time putting together a project. If they give it to you and you criticize them, it'll kill them. So you got to make sure that you don't criticize them. And for what percentage, if you know the percentage of what the C's are right now, if you've done the math, there's a pretty good chance that you're a C, that it came up with 17%. I mean, I know some of you did that calculating already, and that's what C's do. That's what C's do. So, question I got to ask you, what are you? What are you? Are you task-oriented? Are you people-oriented? Are you outgoing? Are you reserved? I mean, where do you fall into that diagram? There's a way that you can find out. We have a DISC assessment, and Shannon is going to put that in the chat box where you can either get a hold of me or find out some information about this. And we've got all different types of assessments on communication, for sales, for entrepreneurs who are interested in starting a business. We have some for college and career people. It's called the College and Career Report. We have some for kids that are in 7th grade through 12, which is student success report. It's important, like I said, not only to be able to learn about yourself, but how you're motivated, your learning styles. So we need to move from the golden rule to the platinum rule. The golden rule is we treat others the way you want to be treated. And if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine, but you won't be able to connect with people. If you want to connect with people, you got to treat others the way that they want to be treated. You need to treat them the way they want to be treated. So just to kind of tie up this disc, if you were going on a trip, the D would say, I'll drive, we'll get there, I know the way. The I will say, road trip, I can't drive, I have no idea where my keys are. The S will say, hey, that's fine. As long as we get there safely, everyone buckle up. And the C says, hey, in case we get lost, I'm pulling up the directions just in case. Question to you, what are you going to do? You know, the ball's in your court, so to speak. Are you going to raise the lid? Are you going to grow? Are you going to increase your level of influence? Or are you going to stay in your jar and not be able to raise your lid? It's your choice. It's your choice. Because like I said, leadership and influence, it's a learned skill. You know, one of the greatest leaders in human history is Moses. But you know what? He didn't start out that way. Moses wasn't good with people. The first recorded incident where he tried to influence another person, Moses killed him, and he had to flee the country. Moses wasn't a good communicator either. Moses was a stutterer. It says in the Bible that Moses was slow of speech and tongue. So God gave him a mentor, Aaron. But it was Moses, not Aaron, who spoke to Pharaoh and led his people out of Egypt. What Moses lacked in communication skills, he made up for in conviction, in compassion, and courage. Moses was able to connect and increase his influence and thus raise his leadership lid. My name is John Watt. I'm an executive director with the John Maxwell team. The name of my company is Coach for Life, and you can email me at coachforlifejmt@comcast.net. I'm going to stop the share, and thank you so much for listening.
Wow, awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you.